Have you ever felt an aching void within your soul, a yearning that no worldly pleasure seems to fulfill? This deep, often painful longing may stem from a divine truth: we are not meant to be fully satisfied by the transient joys of this world. When we find ourselves exhausted, feeling distant from God, and questioning His presence in our lives, it is essential to remember that these moments of weariness and doubt are temporary. C.S. Lewis suggests that such desires hint at our true purpose and destination, a heavenly realm where our souls will find true fulfillment. In times of struggle, when life's trials seem insurmountable and the path forward is shrouded in uncertainty, it is crucial to cling to faith. Believe that God is near, even when He feels a million miles away. These seasons of hardship are not without purpose. They are designed to draw us closer to the eternal and the divine. So take heart and trust that every small step of faith you take is leading you toward a greater reality, one where your deepest desires will be fully met. Stay with us as we explore more about this journey of faith and the profound hope it offers. If you found this message encouraging, please like and comment below. Your engagement helps us continue to share these insights and stories. Let's dive into the next inspiring content together. As the year began, you were filled with optimism, believing it would be a year of abundant blessings. Yet the expected provisions never materialized. Instead of a season of health, you found yourself in a constant battle for healing. The enthusiasm that once brightened your days has been replaced by unrelenting torment and anguish. This has been a year of profound struggle, not only in your business but also within your home and marriage. The hardships you believed would never touch your life have become recurring realities, haunting you day after day. C.S. Lewis once said, "Hardships often prepare ordinary people for an extraordinary destiny." Do you ever wonder if your trials are shaping you for something greater? Reflect on the story of Joseph from the Bible, who endured betrayal, slavery, and imprisonment before rising to a position of great power. Could your struggles be a refining fire, purifying your faith and character? Lewis reminds us that God whispers to us in our pleasures, speaks in our consciences, but shouts in our pains. It is His megaphone to rouse a deaf world in your suffering. Do you hear God's call to deeper trust and surrender? This year, though marked by pain, might be an invitation to grow closer to God, to rely not on your strength but on His. Consider Lewis's insight that the future is something which everyone reaches at the rate of 60 minutes an hour, whatever he does, whoever he is. Despite the relentless challenges, time continues to move forward, bringing you closer to a future shaped by the lessons of today. Can you find solace in the belief that every moment of suffering carries a seed of potential transformation? You must not surrender. In the midst of your prolonged hardships, it is imperative to exert every ounce of effort. Many people, when faced with adversity, instinctively desire to withdraw and take a break. However, the path to overcoming difficulty lies in persevering through it. Do not give in to despair. Consider the biblical story of Joseph. How did he persevere where others faltered? The answer is effort. Before excellence comes effort. When Joseph humbly scrubbed the floors of Potiphar's house, God stood over him, assuring Joseph, "This may seem insignificant now, but you're closer to your breakthrough than ever before." Embrace excellence in your endeavors. As God's child, you are called to a standard of excellence. Countless individuals endure prolonged trials and fail to emerge victorious. Why? Because instead of giving their utmost, they succumb to giving up. Reflect on the words of the Apostle Paul: "Whatever your hand finds to do, do it with all your might." Why? Because you work for the Lord, not for men. God observes your efforts and will reward you in due time. Live your life in a manner worthy of hearing, "Well done, good and faithful servant, persevere." C.S. Lewis, a profound Christian thinker, once remarked, "Hardships often prepare ordinary people for an extraordinary destiny." Ask yourself, what extraordinary destiny might your current struggles be preparing you for? Lewis also wrote, God whispers to us in our pleasures, speaks in our consciences, but shouts in our pains. It is his megaphone to rouse a deaf world, or your struggles, perhaps a divine call to awaken and grow in faith and character. In these moments of trial, it is essential to delve into your inner thoughts and pains. Are you allowing your hardships to refine you, or are you letting them break you? Reflect on Joseph's story and Lewis's insights. How can you transform your pain into purpose? How can your effort today pave the way for excellence tomorrow? Remember, God is not only watching but also guiding you through every challenge. When you journey through the long years of life, not only must you refuse to give up, but you must also resist the urge to give in. In the most challenging seasons of your existence, the greatest temptations will arise, not just the urge to quit, but the lure to abandon your faith, to commit actions you once deemed unthinkable. C.S. Lewis wisely noted, hardships often prepare ordinary people for an extraordinary destiny. There are two paths you can take when faced with adversity. You can allow trouble to refine you, or you can let it embitter you. The choice is yours. We all endure suffering, don't we? It's a universal experience. Our immediate reaction to suffering is often to flee, to escape in any way possible. But have you ever considered that the hard part is a necessary passage to reach the good part? C.S. Lewis reflects this sentiment in his work, asserting that God whispers to us in our pleasures, speaks in our consciences, but shouts in our pains. It is his megaphone to rouse a deaf world. Life's trials are not always fair, but God's fairness and justice are unchanging. This divine justice means he will ultimately set things right. As we grapple with our troubles, we must remember that God has the power to transform wrongs into rights, provided we trust him and respond to adversity with integrity and faith. Have you ever faced a moment where you felt utterly forsaken, when the weight of your trials seemed insurmountable? In those moments, recall Lewis's insight: the pain I feel now is the happiness I had before. That's the deal. Embrace the journey through the difficult parts, trusting that God's justice and fairness will prevail, bringing light and resolution to the darkest of times. And so, when faced with life's adversities, you are presented with a profound choice: to succumb and surrender, or to rise and fortify your spirit. This crossroads mirrors the timeless wisdom of C.S. Lewis, who once said, hardships often prepare ordinary people for an extraordinary destiny. In these moments, our faith in God's plans becomes our anchor. We might not comprehend his reasons, but as Lewis suggested, our trust should not waver. Reflect on this: what if every challenge is a divine opportunity for growth? Have you considered that your current struggles are shaping a future you cannot yet see? I firmly believe that we can accomplish all that God sets before us, except for the option of giving up when the path becomes arduous. Today, whatever trials you face, remember that God is acutely aware of your suffering and sees every tear you shed. You may have questioned him repeatedly: why did my loved one die? Why did I lose my job? Why did my retirement vanish? Why did my house burn down? Why? Instead of being ensnared by these questions, what if we embraced the mindset of God? I trust you. Trust in God, even when answers elude you, embodying the profound faith that Lewis spoke of. This trust transforms our pain into a deeper connection with him, affirming that his love and wisdom surpass our understanding. I firmly hold that God is inherently good, despite the devil's schemes or the actions of this world. No matter the deeds of wicked people, my faith in God's goodness remains unshaken. C.S. Lewis once said, God whispers to us in our pleasures, speaks in our conscience, but shouts in our pains. It is his megaphone to rouse a deaf world. This insight calls us to reflect on our hardships. Why must we endure these valleys of suffering? What divine purpose lies behind our trials? It's not enough to trust God only on the mountaintop. Our faith must also guide us through the darkest valleys. Lewis teaches us that suffering is not a meaningless torment, but a profound avenue for divine communication and growth. When facing tribulations, as Jesus foretold, we are confronted with the raw truth of our existence in this world. You will have trouble like Job, who observed, as surely as sparks fly upward, men are born to trouble. We must recognize that struggles are an integral part of our journey. What if these trials are meant to refine us, to deepen our faith, and to draw us closer to God's heart? Can we find solace in the belief that through every trial, God's goodness and purpose are ever present, shaping us into vessels of His grace and love? A season of struggle, everyone that God used, everyone that God had a plan for, everyone who achieved greatness for the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords, they endured hardship. They all graduated from the same university of adversity, and God has a seat saved for you. But what was it about their mindset that allowed them to face a season of struggle and declare, "Think it not strange," or to look at a season of struggle and then shout with joy? This was not a fabricated outcome that they were striving for. It was something they genuinely relished. Why? Because they recognized that whenever they were in a season of struggle, God was growing them. Whenever they were in a season of struggle, God was preparing them. Whenever they were in a season of struggle, He was getting ready to open up the windows of heaven and pour out blessings upon them. They didn't know how big the blessing would be. They didn't know how the outpouring would come. They didn't know all of the details, but they knew that God's hand was upon them and that He was taking them somewhere that was greater than what they could ask, think, or imagine. Consider this: have you ever found yourself in the throes of adversity and wondered why God would allow such trials? C.S. Lewis once said, "Hardships often prepare ordinary people for an extraordinary destiny." What if your current struggles are molding you into the person God needs you to be for His greater purpose? Reflect on the stories of those like Joseph, who endured betrayal and imprisonment before rising to power, or Job, who remained faithful despite unimaginable loss. Their faith wasn't a superficial optimism, but a deep-rooted trust in God's ultimate plan. As Lewis articulated, God whispers to us in our pleasures, speaks in our consciences, but shouts in our pains. It is His megaphone to rouse a deaf world. Is it possible that your pain is God's way of drawing you closer, of refining your spirit for the blessings He has in store? When you find yourself in a season of struggle, can you see it as divine preparation? A prelude to the outpouring of His grace. Embrace the mindset of those who came before you, knowing that each trial is a step toward a greater purpose. Remember, God's hand is upon you, leading you to a destiny beyond your wildest dreams. So when the problem came, they just started praising God and saying, "Thank you, Jesus. You've still got a plan for me." When the struggle came, they said, "You know, I'm going to be stronger when this is over. I'm going to be able to endure more. I'm going to be able to do more. I'm going to be able to receive more. I'm going to be able to accomplish more, and I assure you, child of God, if He did that for them, He's doing it for you." Suffering is a recurring theme in the Scriptures, and it's significant that half of these Scriptures focus on God's promise to deliver us from our pain. Yet not one specifies when this deliverance will occur. This uncertainty requires patience and endurance. Reflecting on Isaiah's words, "They that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. They shall run and not be weary, and they shall walk and not faint." We see that waiting on the Lord renews our strength. It's not the fulfillment of the promise that fortifies us, but the promise itself. Patience in adversity is essential, whether you're starting a business, raising a child, seeking a good marriage, or aspiring to serve in ministry. As Paul noted, "A wide door for effective work has opened to me." And there are many adversaries. The challenges you face are not random. They are deliberate attempts by the enemy to rob you of God's blessings. C.S. Lewis profoundly delves into the essence of suffering and patience in his works. In The Problem of Pain, he asserts, God whispers to us in our pleasures, speaks in our consciences, but shouts in our pains. It is his megaphone to rouse a deaf world. This perspective invites us to view our struggles as a form of divine communication, prompting introspection and spiritual growth. Have you ever considered that your tribulations might be God's way of drawing you closer, of inviting you to lean on his promises? Lewis also explores the transformative power of suffering in A Grief Observed, where he reflects on the personal pain of losing his wife. He describes how suffering shapes our character, leading to a deeper understanding of God's nature and our relationship with him. You never know how much you really believe anything until its truth or falsehood becomes a matter of life and death to you, he writes. This insight emphasizes that our faith is tested and strengthened in the crucible of suffering. As you navigate through life's adversities, remember that every challenge is an opportunity for growth and a testament to God's unwavering presence. The enemy's attempts to derail you only highlight the value of what you are striving for. What if your current struggles are the very means through which God is preparing you for greater things? Embrace the journey with patience, drawing strength from God's promises. And let your faith be a beacon of hope and resilience in the face of trials. Tribulation is a principle. God gives you peace, he wants to give you worry. God gives you health, he wants to give you sickness. God gives you more than enough, he wants to take your more than enough so that you have insufficiency. Why? Because he wants you to doubt every promise that God ever made. Everything that God has given you in your life, you have to realize there is an enemy who is very real, and he wants to take it. Jesus said, in the world, guess what? You will have tribulation. Cheer up, I have overcome the world. You know what? We've already read the end of the book. We know what's going to happen. Be of good cheer, because the battle is not yours, it belongs to the Lord. Be of good cheer because the enemy that you're facing, even though he's trying to cause you to doubt, even though he's trying to create worry, even though he's trying to build up your concerns, be of good cheer because I've already made a public spectacle of him at a place called Calvary. I have already humiliated him. All you have to do is remind him of my name. All you have to do is remind him of the power of my blood. All you have to do is remind him that whom the Son sets free is free indeed. And be of good cheer, child of God. The battle is the Lord's and the victory is yours through the power of his mighty name. We have the privilege of trusting God no matter what we're going.